Good, 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 good. All right. What's up, players? Playerettes? What about the rest of them? And I'm still not understanding the short on the GSKY. Okay, why would you long it? I'm not sure I see the long either. Like, what's your pattern? So I'm thinking short, you're thinking long. That means it's probably nothing, right? You need to do a little bit more homework. What's up, peoples? Ooh. Justice, you know what? This got nice solid range. A little bit nice solid range to it. Okay. It looks like it's from some upgrades, but I'd hit this on the first pull. Good. What's up, peoples? You know what? That's a solid list, Justice. What's up, peoples? What's going on? What's good in the hood? Hey, we got a little flat open on the market today. There's not much to it beyond that. We're just in a kind of like a monster. We're like in a range, and then we're kind of in a range inside a range, so we're in essentially a double negative, double Ludsey range, and so that's where you're getting a little bit of this kind of like herky jerkiness. Now, a herky jerky market at near the top of the range is not as bad as the bottom of the range, because you can see, like, even with this herky jerky the last few days, the market's been firing, right? Like, there's been play after play. The last few days, I mean, you've seen more bullish longs than, at least than you've seen in quite some time. So what you need to do when a market is like this and you're just like kind of stuck in a range, right? It's about looking for pockets of strength, right? Pockets of strength, theme, Hobbs, right? We keep talking about themes. Pockets of strength and themes. Pockets of strength and themes. Like, where's the action at? Like, where can things decouple from the range that's in the market? Like, what is moving in a monster way, right? Like, these are, right, like, essentially, you want to be really into whatever's just running around hot. So let's think about, like, what the watch list is. Let's see if there's any good earnings plays out there, and let's shoot the shit, right? So a couple things first. We've got a lot of kind of PR plays out today. You know what? This APVO is gapping up on some news, but this thing is too impossible to trade. Sono's got earnings out. So one thing that Sono is like, right, it's a play on the work from home stuff. So if you think about like Zoom or like Peloton, right? Sono is, overpriced speakers. They are very nice though. This is actually a good candidate for a potential play at some point here. They got, this thing pulls. So you got the breakout spot, like, coming here. Let's say this thing is like breakout spot is like right at 18. Man, you get a little bit of a pull, like a 9 EMA, 20 EMA pull at the open on this bad boy. Like, this thing could dicker and deal and, wicker and jive all up on it. I would add that to the list. Like, I think that's going to be a heater. Then the next one on here is this LB's, Lubes. LB's, so the Lubes is breaking out to highs too, at least yearly highs, not like all-time highs, but just yearly highs. It moves okay. I have there's going to be a couple problems with this one. Number one is, it's a retail stock. Retail stocks think to trade. The second part is it does trade a little bit thin at times. But we have seen it. Like, if you look at the last time it gapped on earnings, it opened at 23, ran to like 27, in the first couple hours. Always look, like, when you see a stock that has earnings, go in and check and see like how it reacted in the previous earnings. Go and see how this reacted in the previous earnings, and that's going to give you See how it reacted into this, right? So you always want to do that when you have an earnings play out. It's gap up 60%. It may be in play at some point later today, but I wouldn't say it's a priority, but I definitely think we put it on the list. CICC is another spec. They've got some electric, fucking who knows, electric vans, electric scooters, electric dildos. It's all the same shit. You put electric in front of something, and all you gotta get a nice little shred. You can't really chase this thing up, so I think that one is done for the day. YY is gapping up $10. It looks like probably, they had this news piece out yesterday. I had nightmares about this thing, man. I had it, covered it early, shorted again, covered it early. Oh, man. Woo. Now this thing is kind of gapping up. It may fade off. I'm not really sure. This is a larger company. They'll probably come in and defend it at some point. And you know what? It looks like it's probably going to be a little bit stressed today. So that's not really, my cup of tea. This FUTU, this had some blowout earnings. This thing had blowout earnings. They beat on, you got a break out the all-time highs. And they knocked the doors off pretty much everything. This thing's been a huge trender this year. Now, it is a Chinese stock, so I don't know how the intraday action is going to be. I've watched this on and off, and there are days where it'll move like $4 or $5. So I think this is probably going to be top of the list. Anytime you get like a hot stock in a hot sector, especially if it's an IPO, IPO stocks to blow the doors off, they typically have a little bit more run than like for example, say IBM, announces their earnings tomorrow and they're like, hey, we made, we increased revenues by 10%. Probably nothing's going to happen. On something like this has got a chance on it. It's only $6 billion market cap, so it's still pretty mid cap. I would add that to the watch list too. I always mix up this one and Fubo. Both of these are kind of like a little bit of a hotter kind of names, but this FUTU is very nice. FUV. You know what? We fucked this up a little bit. I had this on the watch list for yesterday. That's a monster cock move, ain't it? Jeez. I can't chase this thing up. Some of these like kind of little battery stocks and stuff, they are all getting a little bit long in the tooth. I know some of you guys asked about like BLDP and stuff. To me, this is just, I can't trade these. I wouldn't say they're so extended where like I have to have, they're extended, but where I have to short. But they are, like this one is still hanging out, but FCell is pretty extended. The butt plug is like it's overbought, but I wouldn't say it's like gone parabolic, right? So I'm 50-50 on those. I don't know if it's really worth the time. There's like so many stocks that are just like cooking and booking, and man, they're weaving and they're all over the place. So I don't know if like we got to get knee deep into shorting like some of these battery stocks. Yeah, like this thing is like, so you can have a stock that's like extended, you can have a stock that's overbought, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a short, right? Till it like gets into that like very, very, huge realm of things. Not on the initial kind of plan. KMDI, now this thing is a turd. I've been trading KMDI since I had, since I started this business. It's always been a turd. So like, if you do need like a battery company that's probably going to be a short, this one is probably the one. Hey Mo, what's up, baby? This one is probably the one. So I would, I'd keep an eye. If you want a short out of these, that's probably the one. New one. Communication, quarter break, top 6 agrees to sell. EHR, blah, 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 blah. Yo, this is breaking out the all-time highs. Not my exact cup of tea just because it doesn't have too much liquidity. I've seen this thing go a couple times in the past. Not bad, though. You could probably roll with that one. Now, Billy, this I could get down with. Billy lost widens by less than expected. Like, how are these fuckers losing money in China? It just seems like it'd be an impossibility. Dun, 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 dun. Yo, you got a breakout on this? Remember PDD a couple days ago? Right? Like, you had that, like, big push, and then it pushed again, and it pushed again. I'd roll with the Billy. I'd roll with the Billy. Billy Bone. Yeah, based on the action on PDD and just the fact that, you could, come out of this range, it could happen. Now, Chinese stocks are known to just some of them will explode, XPEV, and then some of them will just, die on the vine. You may want to wait out the open and really see if it can hold. I'm only interested in this if it is above 51. If you try to hit this on a pullback or something, you're just going to get this thing stuck back in. Yeah, add it. All right, Nicola. Yo, so this thing is getting a little bit long in the tooth. I think we could still play it, but you can only hit this on dips because you got the 200 SMA coming on top, so you got to be a little bit careful. If you chase this thing up, you're going to get smacked at the 200. The last time it was smacked at the 200, it lost 10 points. See that? So you don't want to just come in hot on that thing. That's a no buenos. Now, we're going to rank these plays in a second, so just bear with me. SQ's got a breakout setting up. Just ignore the little middle finger over here. And you got a whole shitload of upgrades. Now, upgrades usually don't matter, but in the last 2-3 months in the market, if you get, I would say, if you get 3 or 4 of them in a span of a couple days, it actually, they actually start to go. They already announced their earnings, so their earnings were on this particular day. As you can see, they had growth. But the main thing is, right, it's got sick range. It moves $12 per day. Now the gap is 7, so we may need to pull it back a little bit. But if this thing pulls, a little bit, this is probably my favorite play for today. That thing is looking good. Planters to extended. All right, let's talk about Tesla here. Tesla's coming into a little bit of resistance here. We can hit this thing if it starts to dip. I mean, the algos were on this thing yesterday. They were coming in hot on this thing. You see, woo, Shreyas, man. Why are you in these things and then not staying in them? That's an account builder right there. You got breakouts by 502. That could be a little bit of resistance. I wouldn't try to buy this thing right at 502. If it pulls a little bit, I think you can play it. But for all we know, this is a two tapper. It may need to settle in a little bit. So that's not a huge priority of mine. I may change my mind once I see kind of what the action looks like, but it's not my particular flavor. I'd rather, if I'm going to trade, some EV companies, I'd rather just roll with the Chinese ones. They just seem to, these things always get us going. These things never let us down. We've been shredding on these things for a while. So you can see if if EV companies are going to go again, then I'd roll with like XPEV or even LI that are hanging out real well. Tesla can be a tricky trader, man. The range is really big, but it's also super expensive. It's got a spread, and like you can buy like 100, 200 shares, and it's like boom, like in a hot second, you're down like $1,000 on the thing. Not my exact flavor. So I put LI, XPEV on the list. I think next, right, we go with SQ. We go with whoa, SQ. Man, that thing's a beast. And then we got Lube, which is not a priority, but I go with FUTU and Billy, and we'll see what's going on. I don't think solars are short yet. If anything, this actually looks kind of. It's just grinding right now, so I don't know. I hate Jordan. I hate shorting like a dead stock where like where the range contracts too much. When you get the range contract a lot, and it slows down, it just takes like a little bit to get it going. Like it's like what they say, right? Like what's it like? Short a dead market or whatever. Same thing with the stock, right? The range is just contracted too much the last few days. It's like I don't know if it speeds up. And also on the other side of things, like a lot of these solar stocks like ENPH and SPWR, like these things look like, swingers basically. Like these are holding up really well. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see this SPWR just kind of like when nobody's looking, just mega penis candle like straight out of this thing and like go straight into the shred zone. That thing is a heater. Goldberg! What's going on? Yeah, space looks alright. I saw the move yesterday. It's, something about this thing. It just trades like dick. It really does. Okay, yesterday it was fine. It's like, the problem with space is, it'll shred like one day, and then it's just like, you're just left dicker and dealing, the next days. So it moves, it acts honorably like one day out of 10. Not my cup of tea. I'm a coffee man. I'm a man's man. Yo, so I do think Groge is a short, but I need a little bit more push. Maybe we get a double top at 30. I'd ideally like to see it even push higher. But I am leaning towards short. But it's only like $3 away from its 9 EMA, so it's not parabolic yet. It is just... Hey, Chris Bex, by the way, how are you? It's getting there. It's getting to that snap. I want to see more push. Yeah, I want to see more push. So I'd rather take this thing near 30. And frankly, if it even busts through 30, then I would be okay with that. And I just let it roll. Good. Hey, Mo, what's going on? EOSC, never heard. Yeah, it's been a nice mover too. Not my flavor because it just doesn't have enough intraday range. But I see what you're trying to do. Not my, right, that's, it's too thin for me. Prognashi, motherfucker! Hello, what's going on? Yeah. Hey, Vaughn, how are you? EVH, this thing is like right at resistance too. I'm not down with this one. Like it's a little bit thin. And, frankly, I think there's just a little bit better opportunities for you. Yeah. OSTK. I think OSTK is probably a turd too. I mean, it may go, but like it's in a downtrend, and frankly, it could just roll over here. It is cheap, but I don't know if that necessarily means anything. Beaky, do you love me? Do do you want me? Man, Beaky gets smoked. I can't chase a gap down on a day 3 because it's going to be at the lower Bollinger Band. The statistics are at like 3. So I think I would only consider shorting Beaky like into like a pop. Otherwise, I think I'd leave that one alone. Beaky, do you love me? Do you want me? Now, a couple things to be mindful of. There was a big end of day push in ZM. Got up to about 423. There's been, there was news yesterday that the New York School District is shutting down some schools for a few weeks or something like that. I mean, if you start to see other cities start to do that, like like Michigan, they're starting to do some of that stuff. Man, we may have, keep this like just on your list with your finger on the trigger. If you see a range, set some alerts. If you see the news hit, if you start to see the news hit or you start to see this thing percolating, take a gander on it for a quick one. When it goes, it really wants to go, and you're starting to. I mean, it's not really a hot chart, right? So it's just more of like you're pushing for a quick trade. The chart's been broken on it for a little bit, but I definitely I keep an eye on like Zoom and Peloton. As the virus starts to really start to push around, you may start to see certain places, right? Like say fuck it, we're not sending our kids to school. And then you'll start to see some of this stuff get picked up. So I just roll with that. So in summary, we got SQ, FUTU, Billy, which is already fading off. So this is not a priority. If this thing goes red, right? It's like, what good is it going to do us? So SQ, FUTU, we got LI, we got XPAV. Hey, there was a couple inside day, couple small range days in U. This probably gets picked up at some point. And then, we want to really kind of attack on Groj if this thing starts to really, really push. Snow, I can't see the pattern. To me, this just looks like a range play at this point. Good. And you know what I'm going to say about low, Noah. Come on. Don't bring that weak stuff in here. You know what I'm going to say about low. Cool. Let's do what we do. Roku's not bad. Who said that? Roku's hot. Roku and SQ, those are probably the 2 best charts on on the dailies. So I would definitely Roku, SQ, those things are caliente. I would say those are the 2 best ones. You may even, another really good chart, if it starts to push over 70, it needs a whole get back over 70, then you'll start to see this thing do a flat top breakout. If it gets over 70, it's coming to 75 pretty quick. All right, so that's the list. I'm sticking to it. Good. Beaky, do you love me? Do you want me? Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I'm over all these cruise lines. Pot stocks too. Duds! Cool.